Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to the Business of Business podcast, Two Daughters and Their Dad. Now, you have maybe used to hearing Stacy's voice here as we start this podcast. Well, she had another gig today. She is actually hosting the Women of the New Jersey Wine Growers Association meeting, and so she's doing that today. So rather than try to come up with another recording date, Jennifer and I are going to attempt to carry this one on our own without our Stacy. But I think we can pull it off, don't you, Jen?
I think we'll be okay. We'll want her back next
I,
time, but we'll be okay
yeah,
one
that's
day.
right. Yeah, we don't want her to miss too many. But
Right.
so I just again want to thank everybody for the continued support of this podcast. We are just kind of amazed at all that's happening since we started this podcast 5 years ago. And actually, our topic today is celebrating milestones in your business. And what really brought it on was we have three milestones that we're wanting to talk about today, and one of them is the podcast. Our last episode was our 100th podcast. So we've been doing this now for 5 years. And if I understand the stats, most podcasts don't make it much past 6 months. So 5 years, 100 episodes. This will be number 101. So that's a very exciting milestone. And I just want to remind everybody kind of where the podcast, the genesis of it, why it came about. And that was another milestone. 8 years ago, Jennifer opened, her salon, and her and I went into business together to do that. Obviously, she is the stylist, and I was dad, and also someone who'd been in business for a long time, so brought that expertise to the table. But what I found interesting working with Jen on the business of opening a salon, the business of opening a hair studio and running a hair studio, the business side, she was facing really the same things that I'm facing in my business. And when we really started to talk about it, it was interesting to really see that no matter what your business is designed to do, whether it's a service business, whether it's a customer service business, or you're dealing with professional services, whatever it may be, the business of doing that is the same, no matter really what your output is. There's just business aspects of every type of business that is the same. And so we really saw that in this, and I thought, this should be a podcast. We really should put this out there because, again, we know the struggles of being in business. And so I think I said it kind of tongue in cheek initially, and then all of a sudden, here we are 5 years later and just did our 100th episode. So,
Right.
Again, that's the big milestone with the podcast. And then, as I said, the milestone of Jennifer hitting 8 years with her business, and then the business of Dempsey Weiss and Associates. So we're actually this year, this summer will be 35 years in business. So again, very, very important milestone. So what we want to do is we want to just talk about, the importance of milestones, of setting and recognizing milestones in your business, and then how to promote that and how to actually use those milestones as a way to position yourself for the future. Let's start, Jen, with the milestone, just the milestone and promoting that out there with your clients and your customers. Do you feel that's important to do? And if so, why would we want to make sure our customers are seeing those milestones out in our marketing things.
Yeah, I do think it's important. I think, I can only talk from my experience, but what has been really exciting lately, you come into my salon right now, I got balloons up. Um, we obviously sent out a marketing email in the beginning of the month. So clients that are coming in are getting this opportunity to celebrate with us while they're visiting this month. But what's really been a lot of fun for me is that I personally have clients that have been with me for 15 years. They've been through the journey of me deciding to leave the salon to they were coming to my apartment so I could do their hair. I was going to their house while I was building J Faith Hair Studio because it took about 6 months to get the salon up and running. So them sharing their stories inside the salon with other clients here, with the other stylists, is just a really fun way for us to talk about the milestone and talk about kind of where I've been, where I started, and where I've made it to, and just how I met these clients and the things that they've been along with the journey with me. So when we celebrate milestones like anniversaries inside of our business, I feel like your clients, your customers, they want to be a part of your story. They want to be a part of your journey and they want the opportunity to celebrate with you. And, you know, I think for us, it makes us look obviously more professional. It gives us that credibility. It gives us that longevity to say, hey, remember when this was a dream? Remember when I would just talk about this salon? And I think that a lot of clients stuck with me through that transition because I talked so much about the vision. And they knew, it was like, I don't really want to come to your apartment to get my hair done, but I'm going to because I know that in the next few months we'll be back into a salon. And so they really wanted to weather that out with me and be a part of it. And now, year after year, we get to celebrate that together and kind of think back, like, can you believe you've been doing my hair for 15 years and or 8 years or whatever it is. And so it's just being in the environment with your clients, with the balloons, with everybody talking about it. It just is like a very happy um, environment, culture going on. The other stylists like to hear my clients talk about me, how I used to be. So it's just a lot of fun. And again, I think most people want to see you win, and especially when they've been supporting you for such a long time, they want to be a part of something bigger. And that's how we can stay engaged with our clients to say, hey, yes, this was me, but because of you. And it just gives us, again, an opportunity to thank our clients, to thank maybe the employees inside of our business to say, yes, this was me, but because of you, because your support, because of your loyalty, because you've allowed me to do your hair for 15 years, this is what we get. And so it's just a really fun, beautiful thing that can happen.
Well, that's excellent. I mean, and I agree completely. Having your clients and your customers feeling like they're part of the journey, um, they take, they take great pride in that. Like you said, that hey, I've been with you since the beginning. I saw how you got started, and I was there when the struggles, and I'm there now when there's the new struggles, and
Yeah.
so because I think what it's important for us to understand is as entrepreneurs is everyone likes to be part of something,
Yeah.
and so when you feel like you're you're doing business with someone or an organization that you feel part of, you know, it just enhances their experience. And quite frankly, they have a level of pride, when it comes to giving referrals or those kind of things, because, they can say, hey, she's been doing my hair since she opened the salon, or I've been going there since day one, and that type of thing. So, they can promote you not just as someone who can do your craft well, but also as in a business that they feel like they're part of because they've been part of that journey.
Right.
I know I'll often hear the same thing, when we talk about, how many years we've been in business. And I'll hear clients say, well, I was one of your first, I was one of your first. And they say that with a great deal of pride to say, I've been with you for the big chunk of those 35 years, or, you know, I, I've been with you for 30. I mean, they really do find that to be something that, that makes them feel good. And clearly, that's why it's important, again, for our listeners who, to make sure you are, celebrating your milestones and promoting it, because that way it does allow those clients and customers to, feel like they've been part of that. And, and they're probably going to be more enthusiastic about, maybe they've kind of, just gotten used to doing business with you, and, they like doing business with you, but, just kind of have not been a big promoter of your business. Now, all of a sudden, they see, oh, here's a milestone that they're celebrating. Thank you. Thank you for all those, customers and clients that have been with us for, all these years. And hey, yeah, that's me. That's me. And all of a sudden it's kind of a renewed vigor, that they're could then, be giving you some good referrals or promoting you, in their circles. So
yeah,
that's why it's important to do the milestones.
yeah.
So how do you promote that? So obviously you have, the stuff coming in, the balloons and all the celebratory stuff.
I
How
literally
about
was just
like,
about to say that. Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
there's, lots of different creative ways to promote, your milestones inside of your business. Over 8 years, I've done lots of different things. I want to say it had to been back during COVID, our COVID times, because I can remember each stylist filling up little bottles of hand sanitizer, and we put our logo on it, and we were giving that away. But again, so there's lots of, and I don't even think it's so important to necessarily give things away. Of course, if you have the ability to do that, sure, that would be great. But again, I think it starts at the basic of just like a email marketing campaign and social media, putting it out there so your customers, your clients actually know, what month it is, what day it is. And so I decided to do that in the beginning of May. So as clients were coming into the salon, hey, happy anniversary was one of the first things that they were saying when they walked through the door. So they were well aware of that. Obviously, we're putting things on social media. I love to share pictures of like what the salon looked like before we started construction, and kind of go through that whole journey, the day me and dad signed the first lease, what the salon looked like when I opened, because if anyone's been inside my salon, it looks completely different than when we first opened. So I like to share pictures of just the journey of what the salon has looked like, and things that I've done inside of the salon. When it comes to what we've been able to do with charities over the years. So sharing those pictures, and again, it's all week long, so I love getting messages of what people have to say about the pictures that I post. Also, for me, I have a blog for my salon, so currently finishing up a blog that will go out tomorrow, about our anniversary. And then we did make up goodie bags, and we're giving away, some hair scrunchies and a pen with our logo on it. Cute. I thought I had them back here. I would have showed you guys, but cute little bags that we'll give away tomorrow. Um, so yeah, I mean, you could even do an offer, right? Like come in our anniversary on Wednesday and get $5 off your order. There's all kinds of things that you could be doing when it comes to marketing. But I think my message is, don't feel like you have to, right? Don't feel like you have to spend a whole bunch of money to be able to celebrate it, because that's really not what it's truly about. It's about just putting the message out there and allowing people to celebrate you and your business. I also, gave a gift to my stylists that work here, for our 8-year anniversary too. And Saturday we're gonna go out after work and dinner on me. So again, just making sure everybody's pulled in, because I think I get a lot of credit, which is great, but at the end of the day, it's really about my family, the clients, and the stylist when it comes to, and this kind of anniversary, because we all know that this business is not successful solely because of me. It's really because of so many more people. So you want to be able to shine a light on that and have people celebrate with you. What kind of stuff have you done for Dempsey Weistad when it comes to anniversaries? One thing's coming to mind for me because I know I was there for it, but
Well, yeah, I mean, when we did the 25-year anniversary, we did do a client event, where we invited clients out and had kind of had a big party, outside in the parking lot, big tent, and so that was neat, and there was a lot of promotion around that. Um, and I like what you said. I mean, I think that's something that, we should be thinking about now at the 35-year mark. I mean, you talked about what the salon looked like when you opened and what it looks like now. Well, we should take a picture. We have pictures of our office building when we, you know, bought that back in the early 90s and what it looks like today. A little bit different looking,
very different.
you
I
know,
can remember.
so that would be fun to put out there.
Yeah.
And again, I think just, again, we're certainly looking to do the Facebook or the, social media and things of that nature, to promote it. Just trying to just place that, um, you know, marking 35 years, thank you. And, really do some, really some strong, like you said, Jen, promoting of our clients, thanking them for their loyalty to our employees, uh, and because that's the other, component of a business that you can, at these different milestones is, even the impact you've had on your community. I mean, we started, 35 years ago. There was my partner, myself, and, we had one part-time employee, where, today, a little bit different, there's still him and I, but, we have, a lot of employees now and so, we've had some employees who retired over the past year with, 25 years with us, so those are things to celebrate because not only have we been able to have an impact in the area for what we do, but also we've been job creators. We've been able to, create jobs that are, good jobs, with stability and good benefits and all those things, So again, not so much trying to toot your own horn, but again, just promoting that you're just part of the community and what you know, what that's meant, over those many years. So again, we'll be doing things like that, I'm sure, and so. And we haven't got all of the finishing touches on everything we're going to do. We'll probably not do a client event because that would be a bit, challenging to try to, find a place to handle all the people. But certainly we will be, talking and thanking and showing our appreciation to clients. So why don't we switch now to with the milestones, Jen, and say, okay, now we're talking about how to promote that with our clients and our customers. How about now internally? Like more of a reflective thing.
Yeah.
How can an entrepreneur use these milestones? Almost as a time to look back. To help them move forward.
Yeah. Which has been happening for me this past month. I mean, it's funny because I was thinking about, when I first opened the business, it was really just about doing hair. Matter of fact, one of the big reasons I wanted to be an entrepreneur and have my own salon was because I wanted to be able to have the charity events that I wanted to have. And yes, I can't say anything bad about my previous boss. She was so great. but I wanted to do things, and the answer a lot of times was no. So, um, there's, for me, it's more, it's evolved from just doing hair. There's all these different outlets of creativity that I've made for myself. And so if I think back and say, could I ever go back? Right? Could I ever go back to the person I was? The answer is no, right? Because now you've been exposed to all these different opportunities, these different outlets. And so every one of them serves a purpose, where when I started, again, it was just about hair. So now it's, social media is such a strong outlet that 15 years ago we weren't promoting on social media, right? So it was something that had to be self-taught, self-developed over the years, and really had to fall in love with that tool of marketing to be able to get good at it. And so that's one outlet. And then building a blog, that's another outlet. And having this podcast is another creative outlet for me. And so even when obviously we were talking about the podcast, I can remember, Dad, when we started doing the podcast and we were first couple episodes in, and you kept saying to me, the only way we're going to be able to keep this going is if we continue to create content. Like and we thought at the time, do you remember, that we were actually going to run out of things to talk about? And and it didn't happen, right? Because we're pulling from, the experiences, the things that we're going through inside of our business, day in, day out, week after week, to say, hey, I get to jump on this podcast and say, hey guys, this is something I'm facing. This is something I'm doing. And just listening to you and Stacy and even Janet give these responses helps me. So selfishly, this podcast still serves me as an entrepreneur, just being able to talk things out with you guys. So, it started out just being hair. Now it's just all these different things over the years that I've been able to do that really serve a purpose in me being able to be a better business person in the end. And so one thing for me I can say is that, um, starting out, I was very afraid to take risks, and I had a lot of fear in doing things different. And I don't know if you guys know, but now it's like, where's my next risk going to come from? Like, because I know that that's the only way that I can grow. And so, I used to be like, I just want to keep this all tight. Everything's good right here. But then there was no growth coming from it. So now I'm seeking out what's something different. What can I plug into? What can I invest in? Because I know on the other side of that is growth. And I need to continue to grow myself as a business owner to be able to grow this business. And I can't be afraid to take risks anymore. I can be nervous. I can be like, oh, but I can't let fear stop me from doing ultimately what I want to do to be able to move the business forward.
Well, that's good. I mean, and that's such insightful information, for our entrepreneurial listeners, because again, that is, that's what this is all about. There is a level of risk, about anything that we're going to do. I mean, when we look at, again, just the milestones of these three areas that we talked about, I mean, you know, the podcast. So, well, what's the risk of that? Well, the risk of that is, you know, you start it, and then you stumble with it, and and it can end up being like, you're not consistent, you're not putting out good content, and it can look bad on you. It can look bad on your efforts. That yeah, it was something they started, but really kind of floundered.
Yeah.
And so again, because we decided to put ourselves out there. Your business, clearly a lot of risk, trying to hire staff and stylists and, learning how to, again, just all the different components of, how to process credit card payments, how to do social media, how to, what kind of phone system would work the best that,
Right.
to for bookings. And there was just a lot that again could
Taxes.
ease. Right. I mean,
Taxes.
it can easily overwhelm someone,
Yes.
and oftentimes does.
Yeah,
Yeah. So,
absolutely.
so there's always going to be an element of risk with entrepreneur, and there's always going to be aspects of failure along the way, and
Yeah.
and again, that's what I'd like to just as we start to wrap this up, really, not when you reach a milestone, whatever that is. I mean, you set your own milestones. I mean, if you're a brand new entrepreneur, maybe your first milestone might be, hey, we survived 3 months. Let's celebrate, let's reflect, let's look back, let's promote, let's do all these things, and maybe it's 6 months, maybe it's 1 year. But the point is establish, where those milestone points are, and reflect back. But don't just reflect back on the wins and the successes, but make sure you're reflecting back on, where you dropped the ball, where you had some failures, because those are where the areas that you're going to grow most from. And I think that's one of the keys that entrepreneurs and business people will see, is that they gain so much more, even though it hurts, and you don't want to experience it more than you have to, but certainly those failures is really where you learn the most. And so making sure that when you have those reflection times with yourself, with your business partners, with your team, that you're saying, hey, here's some areas that we've done very well in, and it's really propelled us. But hey, here's some areas we dropped the ball, that we weren't prepared for, or we didn't do well. But it's what comes after that. But is the key. Here's what we learned. Here's how we grew from that. Here's how we're better because of that. And I think those are really, really important, for long-term success. So
Yeah.
So let's. What's a couple things you learned over the past 8 years, Jen, from
Oh my
from your
goodness.
setbacks?
Yeah. I mean, number one, like I already shared, it was, you can't be afraid to take risks. You can't let fear hold you back. Um, and I can remember there were times where I would have conversations with you, Dad, and your response was always, well, what is the worst that can happen? Let's talk about what's the worst that can happen. And if that's not really that bad, then let's go for it. So, it's funny when when you have someone in your life like Dad, you kind of like have these things in your mind. Um, I think, the other thing for me was, being just, I think my personality is like naturally controlling. Like I want to feel like I'm in control. And so I think over the last 8 years, it's like, okay, let's worry about what I can control, but let's not lose sleep on what I can't. And there's going to be things that happen inside of your business that is outside of your control. And I really learned that through COVID. I spent so much time, being worried about what's going to, and really that the government shutting my business down was completely outside of my control. And
Yeah,
so I know we've talked about that on the podcast again. So, yes, there's going to be times of high stress. We talk about this, Dad, like we're similar, where it's like when you're stressed, I tend to lose sleep. So you kind of know there's something going on. But being able to manage your stress and kind of let go of this, I can't control this, so I'm going to let this go, but and focus on what I can control. And one thing that you can control is how you show up, how you respond, how you react in hard situations. And, there's no rule book. There's no one telling you this is how to be an entrepreneur, this is how to do this. So I think experience is power. And so you jump in and you just, again, consistency wins the day. You show up, gain that experience, And then when struggles and hard times come, you're a little bit, you're stronger and better for them. And so, I think lastly, what I want to say to our listeners is that being an entrepreneur is hard. Owning a business is hard. So we have to be able to celebrate the small things and certain milestones inside of your business. Because if not, then what is it for? So I want to see businesses celebrating their success, whatever that looks like to you. Um, because there has to be a win, right? There has to be some kind of win of whether you have so many years in business or you have so many employees or you've been able to donate 10% to charity or you've been able to take 10% and reinvest it back into your business or better yet, invest it back into yourself. So there has to be um, shining a light on those things that we've been able to accomplish because entrepreneurship is not for the faint of heart. That's for sure.
Yeah. Now, hopefully, that's been kind of the theme that people have seen in this and heard in this podcast, and why we are so passionate about this podcast because it is hard, and and I think it's important for our listeners to know too that we're not we're not doing this podcast because we started a business and it was extremely successful and we sold it for a couple $100 million, and now we're sitting here we're the gurus because we did all that.
Right.
Well, we're not the gurus. We're living it out every day. Yeah. I mean, your studio is successful. My business has been successful. Um, this podcast has reached a lot of people that we never thought or dreamed of that it would reach, in places we never thought it would reach. So but we're living it every day. So we're bringing what we're living every day. We're not bringing something that's that happened and we were ultra successful, or we you know, got some kind of degrees and all this. No, and that's for me looking back over 35 years of doing business. What I'm thankful for was understanding early on that there is selling insurance, and then there's the business of selling insurance. And what we were able to realize early on that most didn't, that people were hired and taught how to sell insurance, and that's same with us. But what they weren't taught was, how do you run a business selling insurance? The business is selling. So that was one of the things that we figured out, that we wanted to be in the business of selling insurance, not just insurance salespeople. So hopefully you can kind of understand what that difference is. And so, but from that, we then started to make decisions as business people, in terms of how to grow and invest and build a team and do marketing. And so, 35 years, and we talked about this. So when we started Dempsey Weiss, you were just born, Jennifer.
Right.
So, because you're going to be, can I tell your age you're going to be?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, they probably already figured it out, 35, because you were just born.
Yeah.
So, but over that 35 years, I mean, when we look back, those first few years, the stuff that we see today, technology and how we do business, is completely different.
Yeah.
It's completely different. So one of the things when I look back at Milestones now, even from 10 years ago, first of all, that was a fast 10 years. And secondly, it's just how we're doing business differently today than we were just 10 years ago. I mean, we weren't embracing social media. We weren't doing all the things that we're doing now. So the biggest evaluation at these milestones is, all right, what's changed? And guess what? A lot. Whether you're looking at every 5 years or every 1 year, you can see the change is continuing to happen and it's coming faster and faster. So, I think that's one of the big opportunities and the big challenges of the day for entrepreneurs is, what is the right change to embrace? Because not all change is good, but what is the right change to embrace for your business to be relevant and to continue to, grow and do the things you want to do in the future. So I think that for us, that's where milestones, anniversaries, and those kind of things are important. Because change is upon us. It always has been, but it's coming really at a rapid pace.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, I think we've covered this topic pretty well. Anything else, Jen, before we wrap it up?
No, I just want to say I love looking back at where this podcast kind of was born from. And I can't believe that we're at 5 years. And for me, we started this podcast right after I had my daughter. So that's how I keep track of it. And she's 5.
Okay.
So I remember bringing her to our podcast meeting as a baby. So yeah, just so thankful for this podcast and to be able to share, our experiences, our hardships, our milestones with you guys. Obviously just so proud and so honored, to watch Dempsey Weiss my whole life and is such a huge part of my story and really why I was so drawn to entrepreneurship. So thankful for Dempsey Weiss and my dad for, just really paving the way and being an inspiration for entrepreneurs. And then, of course, my own business that has always been a dream and just really, really proud and happy for 8 years in business. So lots of good things going on over here in our world. So thank you guys for sharing these milestones with us.
That's right. And thank you for those kind words. And, so as a business partner, you've been a great partner. And as a dad, I couldn't be more proud, to see how you've developed in this area of entrepreneurship. You're a very inspiring woman. So I'm grateful for you. Well, listen, before we start shedding tears here, let's wrap this up, and want to thank everybody. If you have any questions, anything, make sure you check us out. We're on all the social media platforms. Let everybody know about the podcast, how it's benefiting you, and let them know we're a 5-year-old podcast. We have 100 episodes out there, so there's a lot of content. Go out to YouTube, and you can pull up any of that content, an area that you might be struggling in. So again, just please spread the word for us, because we feel like we've got something good we've had good things to say, and we have more good things to come. So with that being said, we'll talk to everybody on the next episode.